Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as these cats.
And welcome back to Pucks Across Borders. It has been a minute, and it is Sud. See, that's what happens when you don't talk in a month. It's so good to be back on Total Apex Sports on Twitter and Pucks Across Borders on YouTube. Brought to you by, as always, First Round Collectibles. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off your order going to firstroundcollectibles.com. They have an sale up to 60% off dozens and dozens and dozens of cards. With our promo code Sports Addict, you get 10% off of that. Once again, so good to be back. I know, different face hanging out with me today. Jim Behringer from Full Press. Good to have you, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. Know you're a busy guy.
Hey, appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure to be here, join in on the fun that is the Stanley Cup playoffs. You reached out this morning. I said, absolutely, let's get it on. Let's talk some puck. I am a busy guy, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun time.
Absolutely. So I just want to tell everybody who watches this show, we really appreciate it. We do want to give a quick kind of like what's going on because we've been gone for like a month. So if you follow me on Twitter, then you know that my daughter was born a month ago, and she went to Sick Kids Hospital, which is a children's hospital here in Toronto, and she just came home this past week. So we've been taking shows off. If you've been following my writing for the hockey writers, then thank you, but we haven't been on the show. And then our guy, my favorite co-host ever, Mr. Andre, his kitchen caught on fire, and he's been on the move for the last few weeks as well. Don't worry, he did send me his picks, so he will get his say. Jim, I'm really sad that my guy's not like with us today because after all the news with my daughter and his house, I think the most important thing is this guy has been dragging the St. Louis Blues through the mud all season long, and I wanted to hear him apologize to the great fans of St. Louis because they are in the playoffs, and that is where we are going to start. The St. Louis Blues in Winnipeg tonight. We'll get to the game previews later, but we will go series by series, and all these odds are from FanDuel. If another sports book wants to sponsor the show, I'm not FanDuel. I give them money. They don't give me money. I'm more than happy to go elsewhere. But the St. Louis Blues to win the series plus 184. The Winnipeg Jets to win the series is minus 225. Just pulling this up to win the Stanley Cup. The St. Louis Blues are plus 4,500 and the Winnipeg Jets are plus 1,000. You are the guest today to Mr. Behringer. Where do we start? Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues. How do you see this series?
So I see a couple things, right? Like, so the biggest thing for me is if you look at it, right, it comes down to the two guys between the net, right? We've seen these two guys play at Four Nations, Connor Hellebuck, Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington has a new lease on life. He's got more confidence than he ever had. We know what he's did in 2019 with this Blues team. We saw what Jim Montgomery's done. But the fact that John Cooper gave him the confidence and the belief in himself and in his ability, then you know what, to go with him, I like it. I've seen it all the time with him, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Binnington. However, the Winnipeg Jets are a deeper team. They're a better team. St. Louis, that they beat Utah. Okay, 6-1 final game. They got that 12-game winning streak to get in. Winnipeg at home. I believe, to me, this series, this is the Winnipeg Jets' time. They've talked about it. They talked about it all year. I'm going to not try to take a dig or shot at anything, but I did hear on my local news station this morning, when they talked about the Winnipeg Jets and previewed the Stanley Cup playoffs, they're like the surprising and Cinderella Winnipeg Jets. And I turned my head and I said, what? Surprising and Cinderella Winnipeg Jets?
No way.
What league have you been watching? Because they were really good last year. And I think, to me, the biggest thing for the Winnipeg Jets is you know what? They want to avenge what happened last year in 5 games to Colorado. They changed their style. Connor Hellebuyck wants to show he's the best goaltender in the world, and it is Mark Scheifele's time in the playoffs to step up and exercise the demons that is Jake Evans. I know people in Winnipeg may not want to hear this, and I know people in Winnipeg may agree with it. Some may not. But Mark Scheifele has not been the same player in the playoffs for the Winnipeg Jets since that suspension and hit on Jake Evans. It's his time to exercise those demons.
I love it. It's weird, right? Because you do both ways. As a Toronto guy myself, you kind of can call them the Toronto of the West in its own weird way, right? Where the back-to-back dominant regular seasons, they had the division lead last year for a very large portion and just couldn't close at the end of last year. I think back-to-back year 5-game series losses, right? And that series loss, we always talked about Colorado's goaltending. People forget the one game Winnipeg won. They won 7-6. It wasn't like Hellebuyck was back there, Dominic Hasek making these crazy saves. And so you're absolutely right, man. And this year, there is that talk of, okay, great. We saw you have a good season last year. Does it matter? And I can always compare that with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we'll talk about them later. I'm 100% with you, man. I do think out of the 2 wild card teams, I do think that St. Louis is the team that you would want to play probably the least. I do think they are spunky, feisty. I think Robert Thomas is really underrated coming, you have your Kairos and whatever. But I think Robert Thomas is as capable of taking over as maybe Mark Scheifele is. However, I just think the supporting cast around Winnipeg is just far superior. I am with you. It's the goaltending matchup for me too. You have the Canadian winner playing for a team from the U.S. and the U.S. loser playing from a team. But I don't think one thing really has to do with the other. And like you said, Connor Hellebuyck, he has nothing left to prove in the regular season. He's won 10 Vezinas in a row. He's doing his thing every year. I think he should win the Hart Trophy this year. That's a conversation for
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. I do believe that Connor Hellebuyck should be in the conversation, and I'm gonna say this to everybody out there. Where are the Winnipeg Jets without Connor Hellebuyck?
100%.
That's the definition. Okay, before we dive deep into the series real quick. So everybody wants to talk about Hart Trophy. Best player, most valuable player to his team. That's the definition of the Hart Trophy. Most valuable player to his team.
I know.
It's not the best. It's not the best player. The best player is the Ted Lindsay Award voted on by the players. So the conversation to me is Connor Hellebuyck. If Connor Hellebuck's not in between the pipes for the Winnipeg Jets and you're relying on Eric Comrie and somebody else, the Winnipeg Jets are not a top 3 team in the division and they're not winning the President's Trophy.
No.
So
it's just, yeah. 100%. And I think, you know, it is like that conversation where, okay, we remember, I think, what was it? Carey Price was the last guy to win it. And you had Jose Theodore back in the day, which that could come with some maybe like argument, I suppose. But if Connor Hellebuck doesn't win the Hart Trophy, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't have a vote. I'm just a guy in Toronto talking to his laptop. Doesn't matter. If he doesn't win this year, my personal opinion is, can we just say that goalies just won't ever win it? Like, they're not allowed to win it because the numbers that he's put up is just ridiculous. But so when it comes, before we wrap up, is there a specific bet that you like looking at this series? Is it to win the series, which, I mean, minus 225, that's a lot of juice. Is it specific games? What's one bet that kind of sticks out to you for this series?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing to me in this series, if you're gonna go with like a leader that could maybe I'll take a couple of bets and maybe I'll put, like on the Winnipeg side. I think if you're looking for a series winner, you should be looking from 5 on. I think if the Blues and the Jets are gonna win this series, I think Winnipeg or St. Louis in 6 is probably a good bet on either side, because I just don't think there's no way this series is going 5 or less games. I just don't see it, the way the two goaltenders are and the way these teams play. And Jim Montgomery is a hell of a coach. So knowing him, like, I just don't think this series is going less than 5 games. I really don't. Players wise, I think Kyle Connor is going to show the world that he's probably one of the best players in the world and should have played for Team USA in the gold medal game. And I think he could lead this. I think if there's a prop out there, I think Kyle Connor leading the series in goals, I could see that for sure. And then the other one on the St. Louis side, I think Robert Thomas, if he can get back into the series, that's a guy to watch. But I think Jordan Kyrou is going to have himself a series for St. Louis if the Blues are gonna win.
So Kyle Connor to have the most goals in these series, plus 260. We're on FanDuel. I like those odds, and I like that you said Jordan Kyrou. For a player to score 3+ goals in the series, I actually had Jordan Kyrou plus 135 to score 3+ goals, and I don't think St. Louis has a fighting chance. That might not be fair to say, but I think he needs to start putting up some goals. And so, like, if it does go 6-7 games, I think Jordan Kyrou scoring 3+ goals is absolutely plausible. And what you said, just pulling this up here, where are we here? Winnipeg 4-2 is plus 380, and St. Louis 4-2 is plus 650.
I mean, those are pretty decent odds. I mean, there's some sneaky good stuff in there. I mean, I like I said, I don't see this going less than 5. I mean, if you really want to take a risk and say Winnipeg or St. Louis in 6, I mean, in 5 or 4, yeah, go for it. But the way these teams match up, the last series went 6 games, and they split the first 4, and it probably could have gone either way. So I think if Winnipeg can get past them, I think they can make a deep run here.
100%. All right, moving on to Vegas and Minnesota. Vegas minus 235 to win the series. The Minnesota Wild plus 190 to win the series. To win the Stanley Cup, Vegas Golden Knights plus 900 and the Minnesota Wild plus 3,800. I'm curious to see what you think. I feel like everyone is just kind of putting Vegas to just automatically roll through this series. And I don't necessarily disagree. I think with Minnesota, the fact that they got their 2 big boys back at the end of the year is either a bad thing because they haven't played long enough with them and maybe there's some chemistry off or whatever, or we are not looking at what this team actually is properly, because we haven't seen it with these two guys for 2-3 months, and both of them have been putting up some big numbers over the last week and bit. I'm curious what you think, man. Vegas, Minnesota. I'm not saying Minnesota's going to win, but I think they're being very overlooked just because we haven't seen Kaprizov or man, his name is escaping me.
Joel
Yes.
Eriksson Ek. Yeah,
Joel Eriksson Ek. Thank you. We haven't seen those two guys in so long that I think people are forgetting that for the first 2.5 months of this season, this team was on a roll.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Vegas is the best. I think they're the better team. To me, I think Vegas. Look, Minnesota took this series last time to 7 games. I think Vegas knows what this team can do. Bruce Cassidy has this team playing. But the thing is Tomas Hertl's healthy. Jack Eichel's there. Mark Stone's there. Shea Theodore, Pietrangelo. This team won a Stanley Cup minus Hertl. This is the team that won it, right? They know what it takes to win. Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson Ek is great. Brock Faber, Zev Buyam, you're getting him on the back end. Minnesota's got nice guys, Matt Boldy up front, Gustafsson. And I think for Minnesota to extend this series, and let's be honest, Minnesota probably should have won that the last time these two teams played. But if it wasn't for Dean Evison, who's the coach in Columbus, and he did a half good of a job in Columbus right now, but if it wasn't for mistakes he made, i.e., Philip Gustafsson stands on his head in game 1, and then you go to Marc-Andre Fleury for game 2, which made no sense. I don't see that happening. It's Philip Gustafsson's net in Minnesota. Yes. So if the Minnesota Wild are going to win, it's going to be because of Philip Gustafsson. And he's going to have to play lights out every game. Unfortunately for the Wild, I just don't see it happening. I think he could steal 1 or 2 games, maybe 2. I just don't see the series going 7. I think Vegas is probably going to win this thing in 6 games, just because I think Minnesota can find the way. When Vegas is clicking, when they can click, we know what they can do, right? They're the best team. I saw in the Western Conference Final against Dallas. They were up 3-0, like gangbusters, like it was that. When Dallas came in, won those 2 games, okay, but then Vegas exploded in the first 10 minutes of Game 6 of the Western Conference Final. It was over. So I know what this Vegas team can do. And I think Vegas is the better team. There's a lot of inexperience on Minnesota, but give credit to that team for getting here and hanging on and finding a way, because they almost blew it, and there were chances for them to blow it. Again, I cannot believe the Calgary Flames are not in the playoffs with 96 points. That's ridiculous to me.
I know,
but Minnesota's here, St. Louis is here, so I'm taking Vegas though. I like Vegas in this series. And by the way, if you want to place a bet on Vegas winning the Stanley Cup at plus 900, I would put money down on those odds.
Yeah, 100%. It goes back to what you said for me, where Thomas Hertl and Noah Hanifin came last year's trade deadline. I think they added a lot last year at the deadline, and it was just kind of too much too soon. They had to play Dallas in the first round, gave them a really good run, but that's a really tough draw when you're playing Dallas in the first round. They've had 1 full season now together, and they just really do. Jack Eichel, man, did he have the quietest, phenomenal season? I just feel like everyone, and don't get me wrong, rightfully so. Everyone's talking about McKinnon. Everyone's talking about Draisaitl. Everyone's talking about Kucherov. And rightfully so. But I feel like Jack Eichel is just out there hanging out in Vegas, scoring a casual 94 points or whatever it was. And no one's talking about how this guy has just been putting up this phenomenal year. And so, I'm right there with you. I do think 6 games makes sense. I'm hearing a lot of people say 5 games. I'm hearing the occasional 4 game. I think what concerns me, concerns me, but the opposite way is the Wild have a like better record on the road than at home.
Yeah.
Does that matter? Right? I don't know. But I do think 6 games is probably like different thing too is like Gustafsson. I made the joke throughout last season and at the beginning of like this season. He single-handedly cost the coach his job last year. And he almost single-handedly cost the Wild the playoffs just with the way he was playing at the beginning of last season. It's been up and down, but for the most part, he's completely redeemed himself. And Aiden Hill is a terrific goaltender. I don't know if he is clear cut like 100 times better than Gustafsson. Like Gustafsson, there is a world where Gustafsson just completely like dominates in certain games and just kind of takes a couple games away. I don't know. It feels like 6 games, but I'm kind of leaning 7. I'm not too sure exactly where I lie on that.
Yeah, no, Gustafsson's definitely the guy. Like, he's the better goaltender, right? But Aiden Hill's won the cup, right? Like we say it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson's not there. We know Jonathan Quick was there. Like, these guys aren't there anymore. And I think Gustafsson's the better goaltender in the series. The issue is Vegas is big, physical, and knows how to play this type of hockey, right?
Yeah.
And it's just weird to me. Like, everybody kind of like is just like Eichel flew under the radar this year. He almost had a 100-point season for Vegas. If he didn't get held out towards the end, I think he hits 100 points. He's having the time of his life there. We got, a bunch of other guys playing really well. So, I mean, look, I think Vegas wins this series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think Minnesota is going to surprise Vegas in Vegas one of these games. But the problem is I saw the stat, like Vegas has won like 20 of like the 30, whatever the meetings are. Like they've won a ton of these games. So it's I'm not sure Minnesota. Look, they have a good team, and credit to them, like getting here because let's be honest, they're operating $14 million under the salary cap. But to me, it's gonna be a tough hill to climb against a very. All right, so it's Vegas has won 20 of the 35 all-time meetings, including playoffs.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Like
that's not nothing.
That's not nothing. Like that's not nothing. Like Vegas is a good team. So I think what's gonna happen is I think Vegas is gonna win. Maybe I'll say this. If they split the first 4 games, Vegas figures it out and says, you know what, let's just end the series in 6.
I think the one thing that bothers me the most about this series is that Tuesday night puck drops 11 p.m. EST.
The TV schedule stinks for this series,
dude.
Like, it's so bad,
dude. Like I can't remember what game it is. It's not tonight, but I think it's game 2. Like I cover
like
Dallas hockey writers.
It's like 11 p.m. Like it's ridiculous. 10 o'clock. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
There's one game for like Dallas that's like 9:30, where it's like that's so late. Like even in like Texas. But all right, what is one bet that you have your eye on when it comes to this series?
All right. So I'm taking Jack Eichel, leading scorer of the series. I just think he's gonna be the guy to. He's going to be the guy for me. I think everything runs through Jack Eichel. I think that's going to be it. And on the Minnesota side, I say the guy to me, like everybody's going to look at Kaprizov, but I saw Joel Eriksson play at the Four Nations for Team Sweden. Oh, yeah. I'm taking that guy for Minnesota.
So for Jack Eichel to be the leading goal scorer in this series on FanDuel, plus 600.
Wow.
You have Kaprizov number 1, plus 270. And number 2 is Jack Eichel, plus 600. That's a huge disparity. If you wanted to kind of, sprinkle some with your guy, plus 1,200 for
Joel Eriksson X
for plus 200 or sorry plus 1,200 for him to be a leading goal scorer. I do like him. to go back to what I did in the previous round, it's plus 260 for him to score 3+ goals. So I don't mind that either.
No, I don't think that's solid. That's solid stuff right there. I like that.
All right, moving on to, I'm curious to see what you think about this series because I'm hearing. All right, we'll get into it. The LA Kings.
I'm already shaking my head at these odds because I still don't understand who put these odds out. Like, even when I was doing my betting preview, I was just like, wait, what? Like, come on.
I'm right there with you, man. So plus 110 for the Kings to win the series. Edmonton is minus 132 for these Stanley Cup, because we might as well, throw out, if you like, one of these teams. Plus 1,600 for the Kings to win the Stanley Cup, and the Oilers are plus 950. I feel like you've already tipped your hand a little bit to what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Man, because I'm hearing everybody go Kings, 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 Kings. And you know what? I agree. And yes, the Oilers, they got McDavid, they got Draisaitl. I could talk to you all day about the things that bother me about the Oilers. On the other hand, the things that bother me about the Oilers this year is what bothered me about the Oilers last year too. So, and I mean, they have some health issues this year that are different, but so many people are jumping on the Kings. The sports books don't really reflect that. And I don't like just like going with the team that everyone's jumping on, but I feel the same way. Like, what do you think about this one, Kings Oilers?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going with the Kings at home. They're one of the best home teams. And okay, so Edmonton line's based on two players, right? It's based on 97 and 29, right? And how healthy is Leon Draisaitl? I know Connor McDavid's healthy. Okay, Evander Kane's coming back into the series. He hasn't played since the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
How healthy is he going to be? No Matthias Ekholm. He's their best defenseman. Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard. Bouchard, he's great offensively. Don't get me wrong. But last year, he was really good defensively. And by the way, the Edmonton Oilers are not the same team that went to the Stanley Cup final that I saw go to the Stanley Cup final and go to Game 7. They are not the same team defensively. Stuart Skinner is not the same goaltender. Oh, by the way, everybody forgets Stuart Skinner was pulled a couple of times in the playoffs last year.
Yes.
So I'm taking the LA Kings, and I'm taking them to win the series in 6 games because first of all, plus 110, why not? Right? But 2, LA's a better team and has the better goaltender. And yes, I'll say this, and everybody, may disagree with me in Colorado. Yeah, he's got a Stanley Cup. He made the saves when he needed to make the saves. LA plays defense in front of him, and it's the same thing that Colorado did when he was there. When you can get to him, you get to him. But when you can't, he's on his game. Colorado won in spite of Kemper, not because of him, but they played a good defensive game. Kuzmenko has made that top line so much better. Quentin Byfield's good.
Me, by the way.
Right.
That's crazy to me, yeah.
So, I mean, I think Byfield's there. I've seen this team from preseason on. I like what the LA Kings are bringing. Look, I don't see the Edmonton Oilers winning this series, and they're not the same team, and I don't understand their odds being so high to go back and win a Stanley Cup. They're just not the same team.
No, and it does feel like the McDavid tax, you know what I mean? Like, it does feel like, okay, they got Connor McDavid, they got Draisaitl, we can't put this price, too crazy or whatever. But, for me, okay, so you look at the regular season last year. I did not like the Oilers going into the playoffs, especially as it went on when they played Dallas. I thought Dallas for sure that their depth was just going to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Skinner had a very good playoffs. When he didn't, he got pulled, came back. He played really well. They lost game 7, 2-1. They didn't get blown out of the barn. But last year, We remember the magical, what was like that, like winning streak for the Oilers, 18 games, 16 games last year?
Something like that. 16
Something
games.
like that?
Like something like that. Yeah, they went on this big winning streak. Yeah, but that's after the coach got fired.
Right, but Skinner played really, really well. So we had some reference of that, like, winning streak, like, Skinner played really well. So maybe when the playoffs come around, he can kind of get that magic. What I'm seeing from him this year, there's nothing that I've seen from Skinner this year that is telling me that this guy's about to go on some magical run. And I just think what you said too, like with the home ice, I think sometimes home ice can kind of be hyped like a bit too much, like depending on the teams. I think like Carolina, New Jersey is kind of like that. I think that kind of is a wash.
Maybe
not.
I'll give you a stat on this one. So I know we're talking LA, Edmonton. I mentioned it on the hot stove on Sirius XM. The Devils are 3-12 in 15 games in Carolina. Home ice matters for the Carolina Hurricanes.
That's fair. My point is, it really matters here. Like here,
yes.
Like the Kings have just been so dominant at whatever it's called now, crypto something.
Crypto.
Yeah.
It's a Staples Center.
It's the Staples Center, man. And I watch the Kings quite a bit, like late night hockey on the West Coast, and they just rarely play duds. Like they just don't play duds, especially at home. I'm taking the Kings here as well. I feel like to keep it safe or whatever, I kind of want to say 7 games, but I'm just going to grow some stones. I'm going to say 6 games as well. I think that the Kings win the first 2 games, and I think that it'll be hard for it to go 7 games after that. Like that's what you said as well, right?
Yeah, 6 games. 6 games for LA. Yeah, 6 LA. So look, it's so like
plus 600, by the way, is the Kings 1-4-2.
Yeah, I like Kings in 6.
So what was the next thing you were going to say? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, I think a couple guys, like I know you always ask me a couple guys to watch. Obviously, it's easy to pick like McDavid and Draisaitl and stuff, like for Edmonton, because that's what those guys do. And, 97 and 29 are going to get their points. But a guy like RNH, to me, is going to be an X factor for the Oilers if they're going to want to win this thing. But on the Kings, but on the Kings side of things, like, I look how their top line's rolling. Like, I love what Quentin Byfield's done this year. I think he's going to take a step in the playoffs this year. Watch out for him. But the way Fiala's playing for LA, he's been playing well. Kopitar, like all their top boys are just. But to me, like Byfield, to me, is going to be the guy for LA. I mean, I don't know if he's going to lead points. I don't think he's going to lead points or goals, but I just think he's going to have a presence in the playoffs that we haven't seen from Quentin Byfield before.
I mean, like, the whole year he's been playing well, but specifically in the last 2-3 months, he's just stepped it up to another level.
Yeah.
If you want to go Byfield, 3+ goals in the series, plus 460. I feel like goals will be at a premium, even though I was hyping up how much I really don't like Stuart Skinner, but I don't think these are going to be, 6-2 hockey games. It's the playoffs still. But I kind of like Quentin Byfield plus 460. I like a long shot to lead the series in goals. Yes, you can go with Draisaitl, McDavid. You talked about Kevin Fiala, plus 700 for him to lead the series in goals. I don't like that just because I think the majority of the goals for the Oilers are going to come from McDavid and Draisaitl. But if you're kind of looking for something like kind of long shotty, that is one that I do like at plus 700. All right, last series in the West, one that I will have my eyes very close on, covering the Dallas Stars for the hockeywriters.com. This series, dude, like, because I cover this team, I could literally do a whole podcast just talking about this series. But the last 14 games for the Dallas Stars, with the most concerning 7-game winning streak that I have ever seen, and then to follow it up with a 7-game losing streak that felt like it was coming for a while. Then you lose Jason Robertson. To see the odds in this series, we're going to talk about the game tonight too. Like, it's starting in Dallas, and Colorado is decently heavy favorites tonight's game as well. But I'm very, very curious to hear what you think. I like this series because I covered Dallas. I root for Dallas because the longer they play, then the longer that I, get to write. I'm not a Dallas fan, but I can just watch the Leafs rip my throat out on off nights and just enjoy some Dallas Stars hockey without any personal consequences. So that's always fun. So we'll get to it. Colorado minus 176 to win this series. The Dallas Stars plus 146 to win the Stanley Cup. The Colorado Avalanche are plus 650, which the Dallas Stars were 10 days ago. Literally 10 days ago, the Dallas Stars were holding that spot. Dallas Stars are now plus 1,200. Their odds have almost doubled in length in the last week and a half to 2 weeks, which is pretty remarkable. All right, Jim, I've talked enough, bro. Hit me. What do you got? Dallas, Colorado. Everyone's jumping off the Dallas bandwagon. What are you doing?
Look, if Miro Heiskanen's going to come back in the series halfway through the series, maybe as early as game 3, which is not out of the possibility since he was at the morning skate, Dallas could win this series. Oh, by the way, Dallas has a 4-2 lead in the playoffs. Oh, by the way, they just beat them last year. Oh, and let me throw this stat out there. The former Avalanche, Matt Duchene's the guy that scored the overtime goal to end the series.
That was a beautiful moment. Yeah.
So, look,
overtime.
I'm never going to count out a Pete DeBoer team. I like the way this Dallas Stars team's played. I know a lot of people have picked them. They have the better goaltending. Mackenzie Blackwood is unproven in the playoffs. Yep. He's starting to come back to earth. He's starting to become the guy I know. And congratulations to him. I think he's going to do well. And shout out to Mac Dog. Him and I have had some great conversations when he was in New Jersey. So, but he knows everything. But the team in front of
you're the New Jersey guy. That's right.
Yeah. So I think look, the team in front of him has to play better, right? They have to play good defense. They got Taves, McCarr, McKinnon. Landeskog's going to be back probably for game 3. I know that's a remarkable story for Colorado too, right?
Beautiful.
But to me, no Jason Robertson really hurts them up offensively. I think we've seen signs of it. I think we're going to get the best Mikko Rantanen we've seen since he was in Colorado. I think he's chomping at the bit. I think he wants it. I think he was really mad about the trade. I don't think he ever wanted to leave Colorado. But that's poor on management for not giving him close to McKinnon. Let's be realistic. If Chris McFarland went to Nate McKinnon and say, "Hey, we're paying Rantanen the same amount of money," he'd be like, "Yeah, that's fine, whatever." He won't care, right? No. And I understand you got to pay okay McCarr and all these guys, right? I get it. But dude, you had the best, probably the second best duo, if not the best duo in the National Hockey League. And I'm not saying McKinnon and Natchez aren't, and McKinnon and McCarr right now are just ridiculous. But that Colorado team was filthy. And this Colorado team is good right now. They remind me of the 2022 Colorado team that won a Stanley Cup because they're built hard down the middle. That being said, Dallas is a good team too. You got Wyatt Johnson, Jamie Benn, Sagan's back, right? Rupe Hintz is there, right? Matt Duchene. All these guys and Rantanen to me, I just feel like Rantanen, he's going to be ready to go to another level.
Yeah.
Dallas, don't underestimate the Dallas Stars, right? They've been in the conference final, 4 of the last 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not the biggest Pete DeBoer guy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not, but I don't know if he's going to be the guy to get to him a cup, but they've been to
the conference final every year somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Gets them to the conference final. Like, everything's set up for Colorado to do damage. I have Colorado winning the series in 7 games.
Yeah.
But, and this is not like a greatest answer because I'm going to pull like a Mike Francesa for everybody knows. I could see Dallas winning the series. Like,
sure. Yeah.
Because Jake Ottinger, I know what Jake Ottinger can do in the playoffs. When he almost single-handedly had the Dallas Stars winning against the Calgary Flames one year.
Yeah.
So if that Jake Ottinger shows up, Colorado could be in trouble.
100%. So, Avalanche 4-3 is plus 450 if you're going that route. And I almost do like, no matter who you pick, whether it's Dallas, Colorado, I kind of like betting 7 games over actually betting the price to win the series. Because I do feel like it's going 7 games, no matter the injuries and Robertson and Heiskanen and all this stuff. I do think it's going 7 games regardless. And so if you have Dallas in 7 games is plus 500, Colorado is plus 450. So I kind of prefer that over betting the price of these series in general. Listen, I wrote a piece this morning just to pump my own tires. Go check it out. Hockeywriters.com.
Cheap plug.
Yeah, that's it. Plug. It's my show. I can do whatever I want.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah. About how I do think if the Dallas Stars are going to win the Stanley Cup, they need Jason Robertson, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can win 3-4 games, we don't know how long the guy's going to be gone for. He's week to week, but he's out game 1. So it's like he's not playing game 1, but he's out week to week. And we know how this league is. Like, you probably know much better than I do. They say week to week, and he's out a couple days, or he's out day to day and he's out for the season. We just never really know what we're getting. But I do think that you touched on this. The depth for the Dallas Stars is built in a way they can survive without Jason Robertson for a time. Yeah. I'm not saying they can go the distance, but the depth that they have, and it's crazy. Right now, penciled in, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnston, and Mikko Rantanen are the third line penciled in right now. Those 3 players combined have 208 points. That's a filthy third line, man. If you keep it and Pete DeBoer is known for just rolling 4 lines all the time. So the third line could become the first line, and the first line, that doesn't really matter, I guess. But you have a line of Wyatt Johnston and Rantanen and Jamie Benn. And Tyler Seguin's back, like you said, him with Marchment and Duchesne, which was the best line in the league for the first 20 games or so. If they can kind of get that magic back, that's a pretty good line. And you have Granlund with Rope Hintz. I just feel like the depth, they can survive 3, 4, 5 games maybe without Jason Robertson. I do think what you said, the goaltending, absolutely Jake Ottinger, the whole Heiskanen thing, that's just the big question mark for this whole series, right? Is we're hearing he might come back game 3. We're hearing he'll come back round 2. We're hearing he'll come back whatever. He did practice, like you said this morning, not with the team, but he was at the morning skate. And Pete DeBoer said that doesn't mean that he's necessarily getting closer, but he is going in the right direction. So we'll see what happens there. At the end of the day, and it's the same reason why I picked Dallas last year against Colorado. I know they have Brock Nelson. I know they have Charlie Coyle. I know they have Jack Drury. They completely revamped not just the goaltending, like you mentioned. They revamped everything. They just completely changed the roster. So that 1, 2, 3, 4 depth down the middle is very nice. You get thin on the winger positions as like the roster kind of goes down. And I just can't get over Dallas's depth here. And I do think the one thing too is Ball Arena is kind of known as this like place where opponents go to die. And the Dallas Stars do have the like better home record. It would be better if they didn't lose their last 3 home games, but they do have the better home record. So I don't really care about going to Ball Arena. I think they'll be okay. I'm interested to see though, game 3, like if Landeskog does come back game 3 and leads his boys out on the ice for pre-skate, that is just going to be a vibe, man. Like that's going to be, and that can go 2 ways. That can go just completely juice the boys up, or they forget how to play for the first 10 minutes because the vibe was just off the charts. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I am picking Dallas in 7 games, but like you said, I could see Colorado winning this series. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I hear you with the vibe and everything, right? Like I saw it with Big Z in 2019 in Game 5 with the Bruins, right? He comes out with the big, he took the puck to the face. Everybody's like, oh, who knows if he's playing? Like, and then that place just went nuts and the Bruins fed off of it, right? So, I mean, like, we don't know. But, like I said, for me, players to watch, I think obviously, like, to me, look, McKinnon and Makar are going to do whatever they're going to do, right? Like, we know what those guys are going to do. You can't but you got to if you're Dallas, you got to let the other guys beat you. Like a guy like Marty Nate has got to beat you. Like Miles Wood, like those guys have to beat you. Because McKinnon and Makar are going to get theirs. Yeah. So you just can't let them get too much. But on Dallas's side of things, like on the ledger, I'm sticking with Mikko Rantanen. That's my guy. Yeah. I think he's ready to go. He never fit in Carolina. I didn't like the trade. I always like to trade back to Dallas. That he fits there perfectly. So, those are some guys to watch for me.
Yeah, if you want to go long shot, Mikko Rantanen plus 850 to lead the series in goals scored. Does feel like that's Nathan McKinnon's crown. Like it just feel that way. The one thing that I will say, and Jason Robertson won't be playing for the first couple games, but Jason Robertson was so hot from like January 1st to March 20th, one of the top point producers, goal scorers. We kind of forgot that Wyatt Johnston was literally scoring every single game. And so another long shot bet, Wyatt Johnston plus 1100 to lead the series. Now, it's plus 1100 for a reason, but this guy I think he scored 25 goals from January 1st onward. So I like that. And again, to score 3+ goals, Wyatt Johnston plus 180. And then your guy, Mikko Rantanen, plus 130. So I like those bets as well. All right. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, where both of us reside. The Washington Capitals against the Montreal Canadiens. Washington minus 265 to win the series. Montreal plus 215 to win the Stanley Cup. Washington, I've been on this all year long. Washington has been super disrespected when it comes to winning the Stanley Cup all year long. And I understand why, but they are plus 1,100 to win the Stanley Cup, while the Montreal Canadiens have the longest odds out of anybody in the playoffs at plus 7,000. I do want to toot my own horn once again here for a minute. At the beginning of the year, in the betting preview for the regular season, my 2 favorite long shot bets were the Montreal Canadiens to make the playoffs and the Calgary Flames to make the playoffs. And that Calgary one, like you mentioned earlier, that one stung. That one stung. But all right, man. Everybody, Washington in 5, right? Everybody's going Washington, and I don't disagree that Washington should probably win this series, but their goaltending down the stretch is really concerning me. And Logan Thompson, I don't know if you've heard what the word is with him. I know he missed a bunch of games. He was hurt. I'm kind of worried about this Washington team, to be honest. What do you see here, Washington, Montreal?
Yeah, I think Charlie Lindgren's running out of steam. Their D needs to be better right now, and they just need to start to play better in front of him. Like everything just became about OV, and then like the sales just came out of this team.
Yes.
Montreal, emotionally, how drained are they? I think it's going to be Washington in 6, just because I think this feels like 2017 with the Leafs when they first got in. They were able to split the first 4 games. And they had chances to potentially go up 2-0. Like that first game, they were 2-0. Like no one saw that coming with that Leafs team, right? So I think the stage is set for Montreal to surprise some things. And I had the Montreal Canadiens in the playoffs too, because let's be honest, like their job was to play meaningful hockey this year. They did that, and this is the icing on the cake for the Montreal Canadiens. I always
100%.
believed it. I always believed in them. I had Washington as a playoff team. I didn't have them this good to win the Metro Division. In fact, I thought it was going to be similar to last year, but New Jersey finishing 3rd or Carolina, whatever. But you look at it, you say to yourself, okay, Washington's got some injuries. Logan Thompson needs to get back. So I think that I like Washington to win the series, but the Canadiens are going to give them trouble. The issue to me is how much is left in that tank. Like it feels like Montreal is in that position Washington was in last year. They just did enough, emptied the tank, get in, and we're out. Like that. But again, the Bell Center, there's something special about that place in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. There's something special about that place in like a Tuesday in November. Never mind the playoffs. That place is, 100%. The thing with Washington that concerns me too, because I'm right there with you, man. Everyone was picking Washington to miss the playoffs, and I didn't really understand. I thought that they got better over the offseason. And clearly, they did. Now, I don't think anybody, like you said, predicted this. The one thing that concerns me about Washington, similar to the whole Dallas thing, is the recency bias is not very good. They broke the record, right? He broke the record. He beat Gretzky, and then they've sucked ever since. So does that matter? And they've also known that they were going to win the division for the last month and a half. So does that matter? Do they just flip a switch? I think if Montreal can get one of the first 2 games, and we always talk about that with the road team, right? You win one of the first 2 games and you set yourself up well. I kind of like 7 games here. I do think Washington will get the job done at the end of it all. But I also think Montreal, like you said, man, they just wanted to play meaningful games. And now they're here, and I just think there's no pressure. No. There's no weight. It's just, let's just go out there, play some hockey, see what happens. So I like Washington in 7 games as well. Washington plus 400 to win in 7 games. If you want to go the other way, Montreal is plus 700. One bet that I do really like is total games over 5.5. I know that this is kind of juicy, but I really like over 5.5 games at minus 150 for the Washington Capitals. So really quickly here, some player props for Washington Montreal in this series.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just flipped around. I had to plug in my tablet there for a second. So some player props for me. I'm looking at on the Washington side, can Dylan Strome continue his rise for the Washington Capitals? I think that's a player that we're looking at and saying, hey, what can we do here? How can we do things? He's been a real nice surprise as a 1C in this league. No one really thought he could do this, but he's doing it. We know what Ovechkin's going to be like. We know John Carlson. We know Tom Wilson. We know those guys. But is it the Protuses? Is it the, like I said, the Dylan Stromes? Who's going to be their unsung hero? Is it going to be Ryan Leonard? Is it going to be Aman Giappani? Somebody like that. And I think it all comes down to me, Dylan Stromes is going to be the guy that's going to be, has to drive this offense for the bus. And then on the flip side of things, I think Lane Hudson is probably one of the best young defensemen in the NHL. I mean, obviously he's going to win 60 assists, ties Larry Murphy, right? You got Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, like those guys. Like everybody forgets those guys actually have playoff experience. Went to a Stanley Cup final. Like they have the experience. Like they've been there. Like they know what it takes. Like Laine's there. Like they have a lot of good talent there that's been made the deep run before. Again, do they have enough? So on the Montreal, I like Nick Suzuki for me.
Yeah, I like Nick Suzuki a lot. I have this thing, man. I can't quit Cole Caulfield.
Cole Caulfield going to get 40 next year. Whenever
I'm doing like, goal scoring parlays, or I love myself a 4+ shot parlay, I can't quit Cole Caulfield. I can't. And so for him to score 3+ goals is plus 200. Which I think if this series does go 7 or even 6, Cole Caulfield is scoring 3+ goals. So I like that bet for this series. All right, moving on. This is your bread and butter, bro. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Like you mentioned, the hot stove. I heard you talking Devils hockey today. I gotta say, I'm not surprised. I'll just say we'll let you talk. I was a little bit surprised that at the end, like what the outcome you thought was going to happen. But talk to me, man. The Devils plus 235 to win this series. Carolina minus 295. Sorry, just pulling this back up here. The Carolina Hurricanes, and I gotta say, and you're gonna hear me talk about this in a minute. If people who've been watching the show, shout out, by the way, to everybody watching. We appreciate you coming back.
Absolutely. Taking some time out of your Saturday to listen to us. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. And the fact that we haven't been here for a month and you're like dialing in still, we appreciate you. I haven't really liked Carolina all year. Even when they've been good, I just haven't really trusted what I'm watching. I made a stupid long shot bet for them to miss the playoffs this year, which was outrageous looking back on it. But something about this team I just don't understand. And they are the Cup favorites right now in betting land. Them and Colorado. What? On FanDuel, them in Colorado are plus 650 to win the Stanley Cup. No. They are the 2 favorites. And I don't understand it. The Devils.
No, what about the teams from Florida? Like those 2 teams
I know.
Alone
well, Florida is the next team at plus 750. The Devils plus 3,900 to win the Stanley Cup.
I mean, if you want to make money, do it, but no, they ain't winning a cup. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. So talk to me. What do you see in this series? I already heard you this morning. I'm like blessed that way, but talk to us.
Like, look, again, I said it before, I'll say it again. 3-12 in Carolina and 15 playoff games. 2 of those wins came back in 2001. You gotta go win in Carolina. Like, you've got to go win in that building. Like, I'm sorry, you just have to go win in that building. Figure it out. Figure out a way to go win. Go steal a game. If you win game 1, figure out a way to win game 2. But this team, New Jersey, if you haven't watched it all year, inconsistently consistent. Offense, one day they score 5 goals, next game and they get shut out. They get goalied. Defensively, Dougie Hamilton's coming back. Jonas Sigurdsdóttir skated again. It's a surprise if he plays. No Jack Hughes. Carolina knows how to beat this team. They set the playbook in 2023 in the second round. You take away the middle of the ice. You take away the stretch pass. You take away the rush attack. The Devils have to learn to adjust. The players know they have to adjust. They've all said it. The coaching staff can do so much and teach so much and show us so much. We have to go out and execute.
Yeah.
Have the goaltender. We know Freddie Anderson's going for Carolina. Aho, Jackson Blake, Svechnikov. The list goes on of guys. Brent Burns, Jacob Slavin, Dmitry Orlov. Like, their D is really rock solid.
Yeah.
Their goaltending is good. The Devils' D core, Luke Hughes, Dougie Hamilton. But again, unsung heroes. Stefan Nason. Paul Cotter's won a Stanley Cup. Stefan Nason was on this Carolina team. Dougie Hamilton was on this Carolina team. Can they use this is motivation, right? You want to use this as motivation to win against this team. They all know how to do it, but can they do it? Jesper Bratt, last time they played in the playoffs, -6, 2 assists, not going to get it done. You got Timo Meier for a reason to score some goals. Andre Palat is here for a reason. He's been a playoff performer with the Tampa Bay Lightning. To me, that's what it's going to come down to. Go figure it out. Go win a game in Carolina, and then things can change. Because right now, the Carolina Hurricanes play as a team. They're in your face. They're always on the puck, and they force mistakes. And when they do, those mistakes go in your net. Jacob Markstrom has been great, but he cannot make 3 to 4 to 5, 6 extra saves a game to win every game.
Yeah.
He has to have help in front of him.
Yeah.
If they don't, Carolina's going to win this series. And I guarantee you, if you do your daily betting, put it down, no matter what game it is. Jesperi Kotkaniemi will score against New Jersey. He does. He always does.
I love that. I heard you say that today. I'm like, that's not a name I expected to hear.
No, he just does. Like, I watched this team play in a playoffs, and it's like, wait, Kotkaniemi is invisible all year, and then in the playoffs, he just scores. It's like, wait, what? Like, this dude just shows up against New Jersey. So, like, the Devils have to play a 60-minute competitive, patient hockey game. I go back to 2023. Devils were down 2-0 to the Rangers in Game 3. Went to double overtime. They win the game, Dougie Hamilton, right? They didn't take risks. Do not take a risk against Carolina. They will make you pay.
Yeah.
If you do, this game's going to be over, and it's going to be over quickly. And let's be honest, this is not the most sexiest of the series. Like, I thought, like, of the East Coast series, this got buried because it's 3, 6, 8, 3:30. Like, and it's the greatest time slots. But out west, it was Minnesota and Vegas that got buried on the TV. Like, those times are ridiculous. But anyway, New Jersey has to win a game in Carolina. If they don't, no. This is over in 5. This is over in 5. Like, it really is. Like
5. Yeah. I was kind of borderline shocked when I heard you say that today, to be honest with you.
Yo, I'm a realist, man. I'm a realist.
Yeah.
Truth hurts. Like, it does. Like, I'm a realist. Like, you look at this thing. Like, I know trends need to change, but when the team is 3-12 in 15 games, not good enough.
So it's funny you said that about the TV times. I compared this series. I'm pretty sure you're a football guy as well. But I compare this to like the Texans when they make the playoffs. You just know the Texans are going to be the 1 o'clock Saturday game. That's just the way, or the 4 o'clock or whatever it is. Yeah. And I feel like that's what this series is as well. Yeah, listen, as a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, you have Sheldon Keefe, who does 2 things very consistently every single year. And I know that the Leafs team and the Devils team, I know that they're different teams. I understand that. But Sheldon Keefe goes to 7 games and he loses. Yeah. That's just what he does in the first round. He goes to 7 games and then he loses.
Game 1.
That's right. 100%. Maybe I'm just being stubborn. Maybe I'm just banging my head against the wall. Maybe I'm just trying to win back money that I've lost throughout the year. I don't know what I'm doing. I think the Devils win this series in 7 games. I do.
I hope you're right. Like, I hope you're right. I really do. That means the Devils figured out a way. Or the one game they win is Game 7, and they split the first 6 games on home ice.
Yeah.
But
and yeah, and
and look, I'll give Sheldon Keefe this credit, right? I'll give him this. He knows how to make the proper adjustments because I saw that Maple Leafs team play defense from games 5 through 7 last year. If they had played that type of defense against Boston in games 3 and 4 on home ice, they would have won that series in 6 games. They would have, because that was a different Leaf team. I'm like, where was this on home ice when you got obliterated?
Oh, they should have beat Boston last year, 100%.
But Sheldon, I love Sheldon. He's done a great job with these players. But the players are a little stubborn too.
Yeah.
When it comes to teams that know how to lock up the neutral zone, they can't fall behind 2-0.
No.
They just can't.
And
just play the game that got you there. That's really what it comes down to.
And I do think that you are spot on, and I think that's what the Leafs had to do in these last playoff rounds as well, is forget about the goal scoring. Like, lock it down defensively. Give Markstrom a chance. Like, don't be giving up all these high danger chances or whatever, and then the like goal scoring will come. Mm-hmm. But I think the number one priority is you got to lock it down. I also think I am very unfairly hard on the Carolina goaltending. I don't trust those two goaltenders at all. And if you're giving me Markstrom or those two guys, I'm taking Markstrom. And you're 100% right. Like, you're like listing off all those names on Carolina, and Carolina should win this series. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, and I forgot the biggest devil killer of them all, Jordan Stahl's still on that team.
Dude, I always forget that guy's around still. I hear his name and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a Stahl still hanging around.
Like, he's still hanging around on that team. So yeah, I mean, look, Markstrom's the better goaltender. The team in front of him's just got to play better.
Yeah, 100%. I like Seth Jarvis plus 170 for 3+ goals. What do you got?
Give me Aho. I think Aho's due for a big playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Aho's due for a big playoff. A sneaky good player, though. Like, sneaky good play who could be X Factor. I said it this morning. Is Stankoven. Like, that guy. Stankoven could get you a couple goals in this series. Like, the way he's fit in with that team. New Jersey side of things, it's probably going to be one of their guys. Probably one of their top 3 guys. Meyer, Keisha, or Bratt. They have to step up. The power play has to connect, and they have to get a shorthanded goal to win this series. If not, back to the golf course you go. Game
over. I will add in to lead the series in goals, Sebastian Aho, long shot bet at plus 750. So if you want to throw something on that. All right, moving along, 2 series left to get to. And in my opinion, at least up here, these are the 2. I know Montreal fans, like, it is really cool that Montreal got here, but I think up here, these are the 2 that we have the most eyeballs on, because if the Leafs beat Ottawa, then they play the winner of this series, and it is Tampa Bay and it is Florida, the 2 teams that the Leafs were fighting with all season long to win the division. Tampa Bay minus 105. I understand these odds, but I don't agree with them, if that makes sense. I understand the champions, but anyway, we'll get into it. Tampa Bay minus 105 to win the series. The Florida Panthers minus 114 to win the series. The Panthers, like I said earlier, plus 750 to win the Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay Lightning plus 1,000 to win the Stanley Cup. Jim.
The winner of this series is going to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. Feels that way.
Plain and simple, the winner of this series is going to the Stanley Cup final from the Eastern Conference. I hate to break it to, like, Maple Leafs fans and, like, everybody, but the state of Florida, it's the new state of hockey. Like, I'm being, like, honest. Like, Florida is good. Everybody's back for them. Like, Matthew Tkachuk, like, no surprise. Ha. Like, yeah, we know he was hurt. We knew he was coming back game 1. Yeah, so. Okay.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We all knew you were coming back. Yeah. Okay. Tampa, Getzel. Like, all right, I'm doing this early. We do it at the end normally. Jake the Snake Getzel, for me, is my guy to watch in this series. He's always been a big-time playoff performer from Pittsburgh, Carolina, to every stop in between. He's only been in 3 stops.
100%. Yeah.
Jake Getzel, to me, difference maker. Vasilevsky, he's healthy. He's not like he was last year. Tampa's rested. Florida's played more hockey. Tampa has home ice. Defenseman, Hedman, no Ekblad for the first 2 games. I know what Bennett, Reinhart, all those guys in Florida can do. It's a pick'em series pretty much. Like, to me, Tampa just has the edge. Kucherov, Point, all those guys. They bring in Gord, Brisebois. I like the depth that they have on this team. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Lightning, but I'm going in 7 games.
I'm right there with you. I think they do it in 6. I think, like, Tampa Bay, it's I don't want to say under, like, the radar, because they've been battling for the division like all year long. But I just think people have just been kind of sleeping on Tampa Bay, man. I think this is a really, really good team. I think Vasilevsky, his stats this year are off the charts. He is back in a big, big way. I heard on the radio throughout the week, someone was talking about how he has completely changed his game, and it's like brought him back to the goalie that he was, like, production wise. He's been playing phenomenal. I like what you said, Jake Gensel, 100% with you. Kucherov, Hagel, Point, the list goes on. I think the same thing. I just think Florida's played too much hockey. Not too much, but they played a lot of hockey. And I just think that this is Tampa's time to come back to playoff relevancy. I think it does bode well for Florida, considering how banged up they have been, that this series doesn't start until like the end of May. So so I think that like bodes well for Florida, but I like Tampa here as well, and I like it in 6 games. In 6 games for Tampa is plus 550. 7 games is plus 440. So I am right there with you when it comes to that, and I'll take Jake Gensel as well, just to throw out those odds real quick. Series leading goal scorer, Jake Gensel plus 650. And actually, Braden Point is the leader there at plus 550, which I see feels a little interesting to me.
I'm surprised Kucherov's not that high.
Yeah, so plus 550 is Braden Point. Kucherov is plus 600. Gensel is plus 650. As a long shot bet that doesn't feel like a long shot bet, but it is one based on the odds, is Sam Reinhart at plus 700 for him to be the leading goal scorer in this series as well. All right, moving on. Toronto, Ottawa. I just got to throw out a pet peeve of my own. You were on Twitter today talking about your pet peeve. I'm going to throw out my pet peeve. I'm 35 years old. I remember the Battle of Ontario very, very well in the early 2000s. Very, very well.
By the way, like, great stuff. Like, sorry to interrupt you, but I remember those Battle of Ontarios. They were great.
Oh, absolutely phenomenal. People are trying to talk about the fact that Ottawa has never beat Toronto in the playoffs as some sort of stat that matters. They haven't played Toronto in the playoffs since the early 2000s. Like, I was like 13 years old. Like, what are we talking about here? Everyone's saying, oh, they've never beaten Toronto in the playoffs. It's been 20 years. Who cares? What are we talking about? Does not matter at all. And I'm a Toronto guy, and I'm saying that the fact that Ottawa hasn't beat Toronto, you know when they have beat Toronto? Every single time they played each other this year. So we can talk about that, but I'll give you the floor here first. Jim, plus 164 Ottawa to win the series, minus 200 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. For the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup is plus 1,300, and for Ottawa is plus 3,400. What do you got?
Look, I think the Sens are going to come in and play some good hockey, right? I think they're going to play well against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're going to steal a game. It's probably going to go 7 because why not? It's the Battle of Ontario. I think early there was like one series that only was a sweep, and the rest of them went 6 and 7. So I expect this to go to distance. I would be very, very surprised if it went shorter than 6 or 7 games. Very surprised. Toronto's a better team. They have the better coach. They are showing that they can close games now. If Mitch Marner's going to be Four Nations Mitch, like he's been for the Toronto Maple Leafs, great. Can they do it when it matters? You have one playoff series win since 2004. It was against the Lightning.
Yep.
Goaltending, unproven. Stolar's okay. You had backup action last year for Florida. Great. Walls has more playoff action. And I think as much as I love Anthony Stolarz, he's in Jackson, New Jersey guy. He's a nice guy. I think Wall is the guy, especially in the playoffs, but he has an injury history in the playoffs.
Yes.
The Leafs cannot do what they did last year and be like, oh, Willie's all of a sudden not playing because we don't know. And so I'm going to put this out there, and I said it to some people, and I think it's all free and clear because everybody's watched this series. And everybody saw everything on Amazon. But I say to myself, I'm watching it, and I see in the first episode Willie Nylander, and he's watching Game 3. He's watching the series on his on the floor, the way he's sitting, and I'm like, if you have a migraine, I think you should be sitting like that or laying like that, looking at the television. Willie Nylander has lived up to his contract. Austin Matthews has lived up to his contract. John Tavares. The issue is if this team does not win in the first round again, you have 2 guys that are free agents. Do you bring them back? Matthew Knies is an RFA, and by the way, I think Matthew Knies is going to be a difference maker for the Leafs in this series.
I agree with you. Yeah,
I've loved Matthew Knies since I first saw him come in the league. I saw him and Joe Wall play at Madison Square Garden. I think it was 2023. When it was like their last handful of games for Toronto, they came in. I love those guys. Here's the thing. Ottawa got nothing to play for, right? Like, no one expects them to win this series, but they have the better goaltender in Linus Ullmark. Brady Tkachuk, I saw him in Four Nations. Like, I know what he can do. Like, I think this team is ready. There's a possibility of an upset here. Just because the Sens.
Oh, I think that was on his end, not mine. He'll be back. All good. Yeah, you know what? I'm right there with him. Just to kind of chime in here, and we will get Jim back when he is back. I do think that Ottawa could absolutely pull off the upset here. I don't question that whatsoever. I mean, listen, the point is, they have not beaten Ottawa this season. And I know that regular season doesn't matter. I know that, well, it's not that it like doesn't matter, but it's the playoffs. It's a new season, fresh slate, blah, 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 playoff hockey. But listen, we've watched it all year. The Leafs don't match up well against the Ottawa Senators in the regular season. Something just happens. And I don't understand it, but that's just the way it is. Hey, sorry, Jim. Go ahead, brother. You can continue.
No, sorry. I just had this connection power. Just had quick something came through. My generator kicked on. Something this happens like that if we have power around here. Like if somebody's working online.
All good.
Stuff. But
all good,
yeah,
bro.
so no worries. Like I got it back. Luckily, phone's right here. So, but anyway, what I was saying is this: the Sens are primed for. They could pull an upset here. Like Toronto has to be careful. Because if you think about it, right, how many times have they lost game 1 in a series? Like, it feels like every time they lose a game 1. You cannot fall behind the 8 ball in this series against Ottawa. And, when they switch the scene, it's going to be crazy. Toronto needs to send a statement in game 1 to win this series. Like, they do. Like, I'm being honest. Like, they do. They need to say, hey, we're the guys on the block. We won the division. We got to show that this is how we won the division. Regular season stuff doesn't matter because I do believe, like every other time in the Battle of Ontario, Ottawa won regular season matchups.
Yeah.
So I think this is a Toronto Maple Leaf series win, but it's gonna be 6 or 7 games.
Yeah. I'm right there with you in the sense of like this is not home and cool. No. Like I think a couple years ago when Toronto beat Tampa Bay and they took on the Florida Panthers in the second round, I think a lot of people just kind of thought, oh man, because like, you know, the Panthers got into the playoffs the very last day of the regular season and they were down to Boston 3-1, and then Boston puked on themselves and Florida came back, and everyone thought that this one was easy. Toronto's going, and little did we know that that was the beginning of Florida being one of the most dominant teams for the next couple seasons, right? I don't think this is not Toronto's just automatically going to walk on these guys 5 games. Not a chance. I agree with you. Like I was saying when you cut out for a minute, I do agree with you that sorry, my brain just like
was it like Nice and stuff like Omar, Nice, Stolar?
Yeah. Sorry, I just read someone like in the chat. Let's go Stars. Thanks for hanging out and watching. Appreciate it. I do agree with you that like Matthew Nyes, because the thing is this, Matthews is a very big dude and he can use his body. He just doesn't very often. Very good two-way centerman, very good defensive player. He can score goals. He can make defensive plays. He's been banged up all year. Yeah. Seems to be rounding into the guy that we know he is. But it's been just like that kind of season for him. Like Tavares is not built for the physicality of playoff hockey.
But I will say this. I think Tavares is also going to have a good series.
I agree with you. I just mean like with the toughness that you need in the playoffs, that's not Nylander. That's not Marner. That's not really Matthews. It can be, but it's not. And that's not really Tavares. Matthew Nyes is a 30-goal scorer this season, almost 30 goals, not quite, but almost, who gets really pissed off. Like, oh yeah, big time, for sure. That guy has some grit, man, and he'll throw the body, he'll fight. And I do think that is a, like, big factor. There are 2 thoughts that I have, and I am a Leaf fan, but I also watch the rest of the league, and I know how the Leafs kind of stack up against the rest of the league. 2 things that come to mind for me. Number 1, with Coach Berube, this is the best that I have seen the Toronto Maple Leafs when it comes to being playoff ready. Sure, they're not scoring as much, blah, blah, blah. This looks like a team that is ready for the playoffs, where in former years, I haven't thought that way. I also think that their defense, adding Tanev, Jake McCabe, his health is a little bit right now. Like Tanev is a game changer.
Carlo too.
That's right, Brendan Carlo, absolutely. Chris Tanev, to the first 2.5 series of the playoffs last year for Dallas, he was on ice for 2 goals, which is insane. Like, right? I think the goaltending is much better. No diss to Samsonov. I think Stolarz is a very good goalie. I actually, not like you, I actually do like that he is starting in this series.
It's 1A, 1B. Like, you can go either guy. Like, I think they decided that it's solely the goalie's time to be there. But you have a quality guy back up in Wall because
100%. I will just say this. Little secret for all you Maple Leaf fans out there. In the playoffs, our problem has not been defense. There have been moments where the defense has been weird. It's not been goaltending. You lost 2-1 in overtime in Game 7. It's been goal scoring.
You can score.
Yeah. So even though the defense is better, the goaltending is better, And no disrespect to Sheldon Keefe, great coach. I think the coaching is better, or at least the way this team is playing is more playoff ready.
Yes.
But it's not, hasn't been any of those things.
No, it's not.
It's been, can a guy who scores 69 goals in the regular season score when it matters in the playoffs? That's what this is.
Not start scoring goals at game 3. Like,
Right.
that's been the issue. Like, these guys don't wake up until it's game 3. Oh, and then he didn't play the last 2 games of the series.
Right. 100%. So I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are in the best position, not because of just who they are, but just based on the Eastern Conference as a whole. This is the best opportunity they've had in the last few years to go on a run. Yeah. Now, can they do it is a different question. I do like what you said about the winner of Tampa Bay, Florida goes to the final. I changed that a little bit. I think the winner of Toronto and Tampa, Florida in the next round. I think whoever wins that round goes, but I do get what you're saying. I think Toronto wins this series. I think they win it in 6 games. I do have one quick thing to add. We have a couple games to break. I appreciate you hanging out with me for 90 minutes, man.
Hey, dude, no problem, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I do want to ask you about this, though. So, on the one hand, Toronto has, by a long shot, the most playoff games played on their roster, comparing them to Ottawa. Ottawa has some guys, but for the most part, Toronto by a landslide has like the most playoff games played. Now, that might not necessarily matter because they've only won 1 round. So how much does that matter? I don't know. I'm curious what you think about Brady Tkachuk, because he is just built for playoff hockey. We saw it once 4 Nations came around. That guy was just shot out of a cannon. I do wonder, though, is he going to be like too horned up for this series? You know what I mean? Because that is my fear if I'm Ottawa. And you would never tell him to like dial it back because you want Tkachuk to be Tkachuk. But I am a little concerned that he's going to, especially in the first couple games, I'm a little concerned for Ottawa's sake that he's going to be too fired up to be, playoff Tkachuk. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that's going to be a liability. We all know the upside that he has. If he is like the guy, he can get under your skin. He might not like lick people like Marchand did. Exactly. But I'm concerned that he might get too in the deep end. And I'm curious your thoughts on that.
No, it's a fair point. I think that captain of the Ottawa Senators needs to keep his game under control just a little bit. I think what he needs to do is just be calm, cool, lead by goal scoring. Yeah, have a physical edge. No need to fight. Like, don't be taking yourself out of the game for 5 minutes. Like, that's stupid. But be physical. I think maybe his first couple of shifts, he might be like, this is like, again, I think a lot of these guys have experience in the 4 Nations, like that intensity. I think it's going to carry over, especially in the Maple Leaf side of things. Like,
I agree with you.
Played really well in 4 Nations. Like, I saw a different side to his game that I'm like, if this dude shows it in the playoffs, Maple Leafs are a dangerous team. Tkachuk's the same way. Like, all these guys, like Jake Sanderson, another guy, right? Like, he got 4 Nations experience. Like, all these dudes got that 4 Nation experience. I think Brady understands what his role is, but he's also the captain, right? He's going to get under your skin. He's going to play the right way. He's going to score some goals. I don't know if it's going to be enough because Toronto's got a lot of guys that can bang. Steven Red a cup. Like, their depth is so good this year. Like, they got a lot of guys that understand it. I think that's something to watch, though. That's a good point by you.
I also think back to a good point by you, talking about Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes will be on the top line.
Yes.
So he'll be matched up with Brady Tkachuk, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Like, that's going to be a ton of fun. So, Yeah, I said, sorry, just pulling this back up. I said Toronto in 6 games, which is plus 420.
Okay.
And you said in 7 games, right?
Yeah.
Plus 400.
7, yeah.
So plus 400. So it's actually longer odds to go 6 than it is to go 7. Really quickly here as we wrap up these series previews, this is the only minus bet that I have thrown out. It's actually the only minus bet that I have seen. Looking through these odds, 3+ goals in a series, this is the only minus bet, and we've done every single playoff round. Right. This is the only one that I've seen. Austin Matthews minus 200 to score 3+ goals. William Nylander minus 130, and Brady Tkachuk minus 115. I could have maybe missed something. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough, but I'm fairly certain those are the only minus money 3+ goals that I've seen. So, in keeping theme, plus 120, John Tavares. He has been producing as the playoffs have gone on. I like him if you're looking for a plus money play. If you're okay with paying some juice, Austin Matthews minus 200. That's extra juicy for me, but that's a good bet. And William Nylander. I think that this guy goes off minus 130, 45 goals this year. I like what I'm seeing.
He shows up in the playoffs.
He does.
Shows up in the playoffs. I think our guy on Ottawa's side, I know we always talk about Brady, but Tim Stützle. Is
interesting.
That's a guy for me that better watch out what he can do.
I think, too, if we're looking at, trends, the playoffs, clean slate, trends go out the window.
Starts at 0. Everybody starts at 0, game 83.
But, Jim, one trend that I really like, which is why if you want to take the Ottawa Senators to win the Stanley Cup at plus 3,400, the Buffalo Sabres traded Dylan Cousins.
Watch out.
And whenever the Buffalo Sabres trade their best player, they win a Stanley Cup. So maybe that's a trend.
It's a long trend on this team, but
sorry, Buffalo
can have a series. I'm telling you that Dylan Cousins can have a series for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, sorry, Buffalo Sabres fans didn't need that shrapnel. They're just watching.
Happens.
We didn't even make
the playoffs. They're going to get this shrapnel too, because I'm going to tell you right now, 15 years is going to happen next year for the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, man, I can't get there. We're going to have you on in the summer, and we're going to talk about all that stuff because I'm interested. All right, really quickly to wrap it up, all these people watching, we appreciate you so much. Jimbo, I appreciate you as well, man. I've seen you around. I'm glad you came and making time for me. Really quickly now, tonight, let me get this up here. Where are we?
I'll tell you, teams. I got Winnipeg at home, game 1. They're going to win game 1, Winnipeg. I like Winnipeg game 1. I'm going to take Colorado on the road.
So Winnipeg, just to throw it out there, Winnipeg is minus 200 tonight. St. Louis is plus 164. Dallas is plus 122 when I type this in. They're actually plus 126 now, and Colorado is minus 150 at home. I like Winnipeg as well. I actually, funny enough, even though we do have Binnington and we do have Hellebuck, I kind of think this is going to be a free-for-all game 1. I kind of like the over in this game. I know that won't be the trend as the series goes on, but I don't know. I just feel like both teams, they're jacked to be there. Maybe Hellebuck's a bit in his head a little bit. I don't know. I can see this.
Definitely can see it. I could definitely.
Oh, yeah. 4-3 hockey.
Over both games. See the over both games.
Yeah. So over 5.5 in St. Louis, Winnipeg is plus 132. The over in Colorado, Dallas is plus 102. So, yeah, I like the over in Winnipeg, St. Louis for sure. And listen, man, I might cover the team. Maybe I'm just rooting for my wallet's sake, but I like Dallas in this game one. I think two things can be true here. I think number one, even that 7-game winning streak, they did not look good.
No.
And they won 7 in a row. And then they lost 7 in a row again, and they didn't look good then either, clearly. So either they're just going to keep on not looking good, or the leadership and the playoff, 2 straight conference finals, 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup finals. These guys are going to flip a switch, and I think they win at home tonight. Any props from these games that you have your eye on? Anything like that?
Rantanen, anytime goal, anytime points for Makar McKinnon. I mean, it's given. Those are easy, right? But I think like Marty Natchez, maybe multiple point game for him. I think I can see that for Marty Natchez. Power play for him. Matt Duchene goal tonight too. I like Matt Duchene.
Absolutely love it. Jim Berenger from Full Press. Where can people see you, find you, read your work? What do you got?
Check it out at Jim Berenger, Twitter. Check it out. That's everywhere that I do. I post a lot of my stuff. RG Media, FullPressHockey.com. Just everywhere. Type my name. Find it somewhere. SiriusXM, The Hot Stove, Rod Peterson Show. On YouTube, Full Press Hockey as well. Latest episodes up. So that's where I'm at.
I love it. Well, yeah, once again, I really appreciate you joining us. Everybody, don't forget TotalApexSports.com. Lots of hockey content, but lots of basketball content. They got a ton going on over there. And also, First Round Collectibles. Promo code SportsAddict for 10% off your order. We appreciate you. Until then, we'll see you next time.